Welcome to Honest Whispers Review. On this video I'll be reviewing Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex Motoko Kusanagi 110 scale display figure. It's from the Treasure Figure Collection line, released by Wave Corporation back in November 2007. The designer is unknown for this, but in cases like this I would give the credit to the character creator and the character designer of the series. Character creator is Shirow Masamune, and the series character designer is Hajime Shimomura. And this is a review rather than a preview, because even though it's in a factory sealed unopened box, the packaging allows me to see pretty much every part of it except for the front, exactly at the front, and then the right side of the other head, pretty much the switch out head. This is a pre-painted PVC figure that's approximately 6 3/4 inches tall. On a website I researched on, it did say 170 millimeters, which is just between 6.5 inches and 6 3/4 inches. The sculptor is Ken Matsuura, even says on the box, of course. And I'm going to go over 6 different categories to review this. First category is design, which basically covers the concept, the pose. And for me, the pose, even though it's not one of those dynamic action poses, for a standing pose, this is probably one of my favorite types, where like a character is looking back. You can display this in many different angles. And even right here, when you almost pretty much her back against you, you could still see her eye glancing back. So definitely I like the looking back or the glancing back pose. So for me personally, I like it a lot. Now she does have switch out head, as I mentioned, and she also has a couple switch out accessories, like a switch out hand where she's holding this file, or like a little card, well, not a card, but like a large card. Let's see if right there, it's almost like a, well, it says a book, beret cap in a book. Now she also has this little submachine gun, which is pretty cool. And right now she's holding this little pistol, as you can see right here on the back of the display box. So you do have a lot of options. I like this as well, the simple handgun, hand on the hips. So you could see the different varieties you can do. So when you get sick of one thing, you could always switch out and do different combinations. So the beret hat doesn't always have to be with the book. You could have the beret hat with the submachine gun, or even the beret hat with the little pistol. So the design, the pose, the concept, everything is great. And even to show you, the base is the Laughing Man logo, which is like the theme of season 1. So pretty good ideas, thoughts, you know, just everything works well, from the pose, the decision to put her in the classic purple costume with the jacket and gloves from the standalone complex series. So everything looks great. For me, this is a definite 10 out of 10 on the design. Next category is sculpting. Sculpting pretty much covers the details and the execution. And for this, the details, unfortunately on the video you can't see as much clear details, but starting from top to bottom you could see the hair, very fine details on the hair. The strands, pretty much every strand, sculpted, that kind of concept. But then the strands on this hair is actually more finer and thinner than you would normally see on other figures or statues. And it's very consistent with the details on the switch out hair as well. So face and head, everything looks very well proportioned. Jacket, a lot of realistic wrinkles. Let's see, the hand is kind of like on the hip almost perfectly. There's no gaps or anything. The breasts are perfect proportion as well with the rest of her body. You can see her abs, hips, very nice details. The belt, the other glove, even the guns, very cleanly done. And unfortunately you can't see it through the video too well, although even though inside the package, in person you can see it pretty clearly. Her legs, butt, perfect proportions, perfectly sculpted. Stockings, nice details. She does have like very subtle wrinkles here and there. To kind of have that realistic clothing look. Boots, simple but very intricate, nice little designs, like the straps and the way that boot kind of just opens up. So yeah, I don't see any flaws or anything like that. The details, a lot of details. And as far as the execution, when you look at the face and the body, it really looks like the anime character, came to life pretty much. It's like here in person, and it looks like what she looks like on the anime. There's no weird like issues where nose is too big or something like that. Everything looks dead on, or I mean very accurate, 100% accurate. So for me, the sculpting, I give the score a perfect 10 out of 10. Next category is painting, and that covers the colors, the quality of the paint, and the application. And this one, the paint quality is pretty good for what it is, and then it does have some imprinting, so the eyes definitely looks like they've been imprinted, kind of, if not really well painted, airbrushed with color guards and things like that. Now I can't tell if this was painted separately and assembled, but at least on like the stocking line, you could see lines are pretty straight. They're all straight, accurate. They don't really bleed over the borders. Even here down on her ankle area where the boots are, the lines are straight, edges are sharp. There's no lines that's tapering where it gets thicker and then thinner. Even her other switch out hand, They're all pretty much done perfectly. Let's see if I could get a better focus here. Even her panty line, very straight. Gloves, everything pretty much straight. I can't see any error. Even when you start looking, let's see her top. So yeah, you can't really see through that. There's like two plastics and stuff. So either way, even though you can't really get that good view, you can see even online, at least for some other samples, usually, and of course every figure can be different in quality, but at least for what I got, or I ended up picking out, the paint quality is pretty much perfect. Very rare to see, but you do see it, like, and this would be an example. So paint score, I give it a 10 out of 10. Next category is packaging, and that basically covers like the package design. And as you can see, the package type for this is what you would call a window box. And that is one of the reasons why I didn't open this, is because even with the packaging, I could pretty much see a majority of the character. And the way it's designed, you could open it and then you could take it out and then you can put it back in just the way it was, pretty much. So you can repackage it. That's another plus. And you can see how very nice the package design is. You have, you know, all these little these letters imprinted onto the box. It's transparent, and you have this little side. It's like a folded card, you know, like a cardboard box with holes on it. You get the nice close-up view with information about the character. And then of course the examples of different poses, or just, you know, poses you can do with the switch out hands or accessories. And even on the back, a lot of the details are in fine print, so it's not like in the way. And then of course the little logo and the stripe, just everything very nicely done. And just to give you a better view, the bottom, you can see it has all the little the barcode and the little information, the little fine print stuff. So yeah, the box, I mean, this is for me an example of a perfect 10 out of 10. Like, the packaging is a nice, you know, for me, like the packaging, the box itself is displayable. So for me, this is kind of like something I can display with the box. Now, for me, of course, I kept this in very good condition. So if you have a damaged box, that's kind of a minus. Now, this box can get damaged. The only thing I see in my box with the little imperfection is that I don't know why that is. It doesn't look like it was like dented in. Rather, it looks like a little like a piece is missing. So I don't know if that was during the packaging or whatever the case, but for me, this is something where if the box bends, it can create this white discoloring. So yeah, definitely depends on what kind of condition box you have. So, but for me, yeah, if you have something like this, dead on, perfect. I give the packaging grade a 10 out of 10. Next category is value. Value for me basically is retail cost versus quality, because you don't want to pay for this overpriced thing and you get this cheap quality figure. And at the same time, retail value versus aftermarket value. So this was originally released, as I mentioned, 2007, and the retail cost was around $50. Now it was an import, and I did some research, and they still have the original page that this was sold on, and in Japan they even had an offer. Of course you would have to pay for shipping and everything, so it would add up, but then you could have bought this for 25% off, so around like $40. Of course with shipping and all that stuff it would have added up. For me, I bought this at a local anime store for the retail price of $49.99 plus tax. So for me it was around like, $55, a little less than that. Now the value for this, and of course for $50 I would definitely pay for something of this quality. And on top of it, when I did my research, currently there's only like 5 to 6 of these for sale, and like 3 of them are used, 2 to 3 of them are new. And then the used ones right now, the lowest I've seen is like 130, like with shipping, plus shipping or something like that. And then the next lowest is around like $160 plus or with free shipping. And they do come with the box. It was used, and it seems like it's like decent quality. And I've seen couple used ones or new ones that's listed at $450 and $460. So definitely rare, high demand on this. And then of course, I don't know how much they produced, but at least right now, after 11 years after it was released, definitely not much options to buy on. And I was on both Amazon and eBay. So for me, value, this is, the new one that's listed at $450. Of course, that's an asking price, and unless you're wealthy and impatient, then I wouldn't have any problems buying it at that price. But I think realistically, a new one, if you held out, and especially with those others listed at that price, I could see myself maybe getting up to $400, but realistically probably around $350, and if I want to sell it, $300. But for me, everything about it just adds a little bit more than just the actual retail or the aftermarket value. Actually, this is one of my favorite Ghost in the Shell, especially standalone complex figures that's ever been produced. So I put the value score at a high, of course, perfect, 10 out of 10. Which finally comes to the last category, overall, which accumulates all the prior categories: design, sculpting, painting, packaging, and value. And this is a prime example and a very rare example of, for me, what a perfect figure is. I mean, as far as retail, it didn't cost me that much. At the same time, the quality I got, even though it's not a big scale, and this would probably range in the medium-sized statues. I mean, this is, for me, like very high quality, perfectly executed, well done. As I mentioned, Motoko's one of my, actually she's probably my favorite anime character of all time. And as far as pop culture characters, maybe just a little bit out of top 10. So for me, this is something I probably couldn't sell, and if I did wanted to sell it, I would put it at like a I don't want to sell it price at like $460. So I could totally relate to the people who have it listed for that. So overall, at least at this point, obviously, I give this a perfect 10 out of 10. So to recap, design 10 out of 10, sculpting 10 out of 10, painting 10 out of 10, packaging 10 out of 10, value 10 out of 10, and overall 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Until next time, try watching Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. It's actually a pretty good series, very well animated, and a pretty intriguing storyline.